Hey everybody, it's Spectral Sailor. I'm Rosie and this is Jason, and we have special guest tonight, Alan. I'm not sure how this is gonna go. Okay, there. I don't know if you can see in the background, but I've got sharks for Shark Week. I don't think you can see them, but you can see their fin on the bottom. So, how's it going, Alan?
Doing just fine. Really good. Supposed, it's supposed to storm again tonight, but
Is
I
it?
doubt it. It's pretty good out there now.
Well, hopefully it doesn't. If it does, then if you disappear for some reason, we'll know you didn't ghost us.
Really.
It was the storm. So, um, so Alan is a writer and he does a lot of other things. Hey, everybody who's in the room, and I see there's Irene, Janine. Hey, Adam. Hey, Michelle. Hey, Courtney. How are y'all doing? So, if you'll have any questions, feel free. And thank you for sharing out. Thank you, Courtney, and thank you for pinning the link. She pinned a link for the Fear Fest Paracon thing that we're going to be doing in Salina, Kansas in September, and the dates are the 24th and 25th for everybody. But we won't only talk about that because we don't want to project onto Alan. We want to talk to some of the stuff that he wants to talk about. But hello, Vanessa. How are you? Welcome to the show. So, Alan, I wanted to talk more about. You said that you used to live in a haunted house. I wanted to talk about that kind of for a
Okay.
little bit, like maybe some experiences you might have had.
Okay. Well, first off, my wife and I got married in 2008. We met in 2005. Um, we were both mediums. We're both empaths, sensitives, and healers. And anyway, it's great to be that way. But
Hmm.
I told her about some of my experiences I have had during my lifetime. I was born with those abilities, and so when you're born with those abilities, you're gonna have spirits around you all the time. You just gotta expect it. And but I was kind of in the closet because when you're in grade school, high school, stuff like that, even in your employment, you can't come out and say, "Hey, I saw a ghost last night," or anything like that. So you have to kind of keep quiet about it. I have family members that don't even know. You know, and but I got the abilities from my mother and my grandmother and my uh, great grandma. But anyway, uh, about 2014 or so, Lori, after I told her about my experiences, she said, "You ought to write a book, Alan, of your experiences and everything." And I didn't. I never wrote a book before, and I didn't know how to do it. But uh, I've got I've got to tell you something right now. I went to bed one night with about 250 friends on Facebook, and when I woke up the next morning, I had 5,000 friends on Facebook, and it was loaded. I couldn't get another one. And when I went through their pages and stuff, they were all paranormal. There was investigators. There was demonologists. There was everybody was paranormal,
That's
and
awesome.
yeah, and it included. There was a publisher, and so I got with her, and so my first book came out in 2015. But then it just kept going, and I have 8 books out right now. Lori became my publisher, and she's almost got my
Right now,
10th book down, my ninth book down.
Lori became my. Sorry, I was sharing this post and I could hear you twice.
Oh,
Lori
really?
became your publisher. You said Lori who?
Yeah, Lori, my wife, became my publisher,
Oh, that works out
and
good.
she's working on the ninth book right now. She's almost got it done. We were hoping to have it done by this show, but it didn't work out that way. Sometimes Amazon has their own personality and they do things the way they want to do it anyway. But anyway, uh, yeah, uh, I got that out of the way. Now, her and I moved into a really small house. It was only one bedroom, one bath, but it was only her and I and our dogs. And but the house was 70 years old, about 70 years old. I used to ride my bike by the house when I was a kid, and I was always attracted to that house anyway. I don't know why. Even as a kid, I used to see an old woman out in the front yard, like watering her plants and stuff when I rode by, But anyway, uh, I never thought I would end up living in that house. But anyway, when we moved in, there wasn't anything going on when we first moved in. It took a few months to start acting up. And there was things like our lights would turn on and off, and which was a good thing to, should know that the place is haunted when something like that goes on. But then Lori, one morning, she says, Alan, I see movement in the hallway at night. I said, no, you don't. I said, it's just, you know, mind playing tricks on you. So that next night, I just
Mm-hmm.
purposely looked to see what was going on. Sure enough, we had shadow people, and they were in the hallway of the house. They would go from one side of the hallway to the next side, and they just kept going back and forth, and they were watching us like they were trying to uh, find out what we were doing or something. But anyway, that happened. And then uh, I was telling you
Hey,
earlier,
Pamela.
what
I said, hey,
I keep.
Pamela. She had a comment for you. A lady
Oh,
had a comment about your story about the house. She said, it's
okay.
interesting you were attracted to the house as a kid and you ended up living there as an adult.
Yes, I thought it was interesting also. Well, like I said, I had abilities even as a kid, so I guess my spidey senses knew I was going to be there at some point in the future or something.
Yeah.
Uh, I just at the time I was when you're a medium and you're a child, you're a child medium, and you kind of you're learning the abilities, even though you have them.
And
And,
actually, you're suffering through them too, right?
exactly.
When you're not
Uh,
understanding, yeah.
yeah, I used to have dreams, and to me at the time they were, pretty scary. I saw my great grandmother's funeral when I was about 5 years old, and I remember seeing her in her coffin, and she was wearing a dark black dress with a white collar with flowers and stuff on it, and she had this real bright white hair, snow white hair,
Hmm.
and I didn't know who she was in this dream. It kind of scared me at first. But I was over at my grandparents' house one day, and I was looking at the pictures that they had in the living room, and there she was in this one picture. And I asked my grandmother, I said, "Who's this lady?" And she said, "Well, that's your great grandmother. She had died 2 years before I was born." And I realized then why I had that dream. It was my great grandmother basically introducing herself to me in a
That's
weird
crazy.
way, in this dream. And she had abilities also, my great grandmother.
Maybe
And
she wanted to show you that you had abilities too.
exactly right. That's what she was doing.
Yeah.
So that kind of brought things together for me there at a young age, even. But anyway, back to the haunted house. I came home one night from work one afternoon, and I usually got home from work before Lori did, my wife. And anyway, I went in the house, and there was hundreds of flies by the kitchen window and the dining room window, hundreds of them, and they were these big, dark, fat, disgusting flies that you might see around a dead carcass or something. They're so fat they can barely fly. They fly real slow, you know. And there was hundreds of them, and I I was I was afraid of it. Actually, to tell you the truth, I never dealt with anything like that before in my life, and so I thought, well, I'm going to kill these flies. You know, if they don't like it, they don't like it. And I go, so was going to spray it with poison, but then I couldn't do that because we had dogs, and I didn't want our dogs messing around with the flies after they fell on the floor. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so I just got out of fly swatter and I just started swinging. It took me about an hour, 2 hours, but I got them, killed them all, and I swept them up, put them in the garbage can. Came home the next day, and it was that way again. And I see somebody went. I can't see the whole question here. Oh, there we go. Okay. Uh,
I've experienced that, but they were easier to kill, Josh said.
yeah. Well, they are kind of easy to kill because you can even swat them in the air while they're flying because they move so slow, you know. But anyway, I did this for a few days, and finally, we didn't have any more interaction with that evil thing with the flies. Anyway, I knew it was still in the house though. But anyway, I told you about the ghost flies. Everything on this earth has a spirit. Everything, rocks, uh, trees, plants, flowers, everything, insects has a spirit. Anyway, those flies I kill has a spirit. And Lori and I was watching TV one night. We were sitting in a dark room with the TV, and the TV, we kept seeing these flies coming up off the floor and flying up in front of the screen of the TV. And I grabbed my fly swatter. I was going to start going at it again, but when I turned on the light, there was no flies, none. They were the
That's
spirits of the
crazy.
flies. They were the spirits of the flies that we had killed, and this lasted for about 2 or 3 days, I think it was, and then all of a sudden they quit coming, around. But that was kind of spooky, you know. I never dealt with that before either. But we had the house blessed uh, a couple times. Myself and my friend did it one time. I did it by myself one time. We saged the house, and we finally got rid of everything but the uh, shadow people. Uh, those shadow people are different critters from another dimension or something because uh, they just don't live by the same rules that we have to live by. Um, I think they're entities that's never been on this earth before. They've never received a body, a
Mm-hmm.
physical body, and I don't believe that what they have now is actually a spirit. It's a shadow, is what it is, and I believe they're from a different dimension where there's shadows there all the time.
Hey,
Uh,
Jeff.
you can think of.
Yeah, I have several different theories about shadow figures. A couple of different theories. Like maybe they're not all exactly the same. I don't think that they're all exactly the same.
Exactly. There's some lighter dark, lighter black, some
Yeah.
darker black, some almost like a brown color too. I've seen.
Yeah, or like a
There-
gray.
Yeah, exactly. So the lighter ones could be spirits from this dimension, from this earth when they died. They could be somebody that went to hell, so to speak, or they're in this earthly realm, and this is where they're stuck. They can't get out of it, unless they get some help or something. But anyway, we were in that house for about three 3 years before we sold it and got out. There's
Yeah.
another question there. Say,
Janine said, "My daughter says that they are watchers because her daughter encounters shadow figures a lot." I guess they
well,
could
I know.
be considered watchers. I mean, sometimes they just watch you; they don't actually interact.
Well,
Some of them.
I know what they did with us. They did not interact with us. They were in our hallway, and they uh, looked like they were watching us. Just back and forth, back and forth. They looked like they were spying on us or something. So that could be, but I never had that before. The watchers that's mentioned of in the Bible, though, I think are different than these are. Uh, Maybe not. Maybe it was their offspring that were giants, if I remember right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
that's what it
Nephilim.
was. Yeah, that's right.
It depends on what
So
story you read. If you read the Bible, or
yeah,
if you read Greek mythology, or Roman mythology, or
yeah,
Egyptian mythology, I guess.
yeah, yeah. She could be right because they were watching me. I've never had a shadow person attack me. They always looked like they were trying to watch me and see what was going on. But anyway,
Yeah,
we
sometimes like I don't really watch it a lot, but I know a lot of people watch the Dead Files. But it seems like very often Amy Allen deals with different dark figures and shadow beings and shadow figures.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I didn't get that. What was it?
Oh, I said I don't watch it a lot, but I've seen it a couple times. And I said the Dead Files that has Amy and Steve in it. I said a lot of the times it seems like that she's dealing with shadow beings and shadow figures and dark entities.
Yeah. Well, I've seen it myself in a couple other places, but Amy is great. I love it, Amy, in a strictly non-sexual way. My wife is pregnant, but
Yeah.
I love her.
You don't want
I
to get
love her.
slapped.
I love her abilities and what she can do.
Yeah, she's
Uh,
very seasoned. She's a very seasoned, uh,
yes,
sensitive or empath or psychic, whatever she calls herself. She's very seasoned, like one of the most, I think,
she's at the
experienced.
top level as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, she's
I,
pretty. Yeah, I would agree. Um, Jeff said he was a groundskeeper. If you have heard of the Bel Air House, actually, the guests we had on last week had just done a thing at the Bel Air House.
I've heard of it. I don't know much about it though. Um, I've heard about quite a few of the places that are haunted or you know whatever. I myself, I'm not a ghost hunter. I do not go around looking for ghosts. I know I have spirits around me all the time. If I want to see a spirit, all I have to do is call them out because uh, I don't have to go looking for them. Besides
Mhm.
that, there's some things that I feel should be left alone, and I have respect for these spirits that's on this earthly plane for whatever reason. They can't get out. They're here for some reason. I know they are, but uh, I think going in and disturbing them in a way that some people do it is unrespectful. And
Yeah, some people don't really know how to handle them. They just think it's fun and they go in and they just do what they see in the shows or they see on TV or YouTube and they don't really think a lot about it or do a lot of research on it first.
we have to be respectful of those spirits because they were people once, just like us.
Yeah.
And uh, they uh, they have to be treated like a person. I think if they're dead, they're dead, but they have to be treated respectfully.
I
But
do
I don't
agree
do
with that.
my. There's also scary things in those places that um, could attach themselves to you, and you might not want that to happen.
I
Uh,
believe by being disrespectful that you might even be actually inviting them to do that.
exactly. Writing one of my books called "To Hell, Called to Heaven." I was writing the part about being called to hell by this one spirit, and as I was writing that chapter, uh, I was uh, I was basically had an attachment from come and stick on me uh, from writing that chapter. And I never experienced that before in my life. I didn't even know they could do that, but they can. Uh, if you're writing a section about a spirit and you're really into it emotionally, uh, that you can actually draw that spirit out from wherever it's at, especially me being a medium. And I did it not on purpose, but I did it, and it was attached to me for a couple of weeks. It took me a couple of weeks to get rid of it. I had to sage myself. I had to bless myself. It took me a couple of weeks. Yeah, but when I had that attachment, I uh, I had anger issues. I I
Did you have
snapped at my
sleeping
wife.
problems? Like at night, did you have problems getting comfortable sleeping or sleeping solid hours? Did you wake up a lot or stay up a lot during the night?
Yes, I did. I had trouble getting to sleep, and then when I got to sleep, it was like troubled sleep. I'd wake up like every hour or so, And so, yeah, I did. I had problems sleeping. I also uh, had, oh, you name it. I had every emotion, bad emotion, coming out of me, and that's not me. I'm a friendly, happy-go-lucky person, but when that attachment was on me, I was mean. My whole attitude about everything changed, and it took me 2 weeks to get rid of it. When I got rid of it, even my wife could see the difference and everything in me.
When you
But
had that,
anyway,
did you kind of have like a brain fog, sort of? I've heard a lot of people say that they kind of have a brain fog, or it's like almost like they're on a co-pilot mode.
well, yeah, but it was. I looked at everything differently. Like,
Yeah, that's how I would explain it. Like looking
yeah,
at it differently, because I've had an experience kind of similar to what you're describing, but not exactly.
yeah, I could look at a flower before that happened, and say, "Oh, how beautiful!" And afterwards, I'd see the same flower and say, "I'd like to step on that son again." It was just totally different way of thinking. And like I said, I was really mean spirited. But anyway, I got rid of it, got done with the book, and I was really happy when I did because
Yeah.
that was kind of a bad thing to write. But
Did
anyway,
the book turn out good though?
I think so. I think so. Eh, All of my experiences in those books are true. So I'm 72 years old. I've had a lot of experiences. They're all true, and I wrote them down. That one book my wife wanted me to write turned into uh, 8 books, 9 books, 9 books so far, and
Yeah.
I'm starting to write the 10th book. So yeah, my ninth book is entitled "Things to Come," and it's about climate change. I also said in there that uh, I talked about a sickness going around. I actually wrote that book before the pandemic hit, before COVID-19, and so what I wrote in that book, some of it has already happened. My wife had she had a sickness, illness for
Mm-hmm.
the last 2 years, and she couldn't do that anymore. She had short-term memory loss, and she couldn't do that stuff that she had to do for the book.
Yeah.
And she's just now coming out of it, and she's starting to do it again. So uh, anyway, some of the things that I wrote about that was supposed to be in the future is happening right now. And if you buy the book and read it, you'll know which ones are happening right now.
I was talking to my daughter about that today, and I told her that Nostradamus predicted a 2021 apocalyptic event, and she was like, "Don't tell me that. That's scary, and it makes me paranoid," because she thought I meant zombies, which is not exactly what I was talking about. But she's scared to death and always has been of zombies. And I said, "What if
Yeah.
it doesn't mean real zombies? What if it means like metaphorical zombies? Like we're always walking around and we're all on co-pilot, and none of us think for ourselves anymore?" And I was like, "Think about that." And she was like, "Hmm."
No, there's no zombies, and there won't be any zombies as
I'm
far
going
as
to
I
ask you a
know.
question. Josh wants to ask you if you think that mists are different from shadow people. Do you believe that orbs are spirits that once lived, which is another thing? So are
Uh,
mists different from shadow people, and are orbs spirits that once were alive?
well, I actually think, you know, spirits can put their bodies into any form that they want to. Most of the time, they put their bodies in the form that they were when they were living in this physical body, but they don't have to have that form.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe these orbs are actually the bodies of spirits, and they just make themselves small and round, and they just fly through the air that way. That's how they get around. Uh, I think if you saw an orb go back to its original form, you see a ghost or a spirit, a whole bodied spirit, because that's what they are. Uh, an, Another thing, I don't know why they're bound to Earth like they are. I
Yeah.
have no reason why they're here, just like the shadow people, uh, just like the ghost that's in these haunted buildings. I don't know why they're there. I've
I
had
think
people
that
tell me,
kind of like how they get attached to us and we get attachments, I think they also get attached to places sometimes. And I'm not sure why. It's probably based on an individual case or based on the individual spirit itself or the shadow figure. But I think that they also get attachments to places and like kind of like bondage, sort of, in a way.
yeah, I also think too that they're when they die, they're kind of questionable as to where they're going to go. So
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
think they think, well, I think I might be best if I just stay here.
What's
I
familiar
don't.
to them.
Yeah, I don't want to go
Mhm.
into that light yet. Type thing. Because I told you what that light is. That light is love, compassion, charity, all those good feelings. And uh, if you say murdered somebody or you did things in your life that weren't so good, then you might not want to go up into that light so fast because you might know that you're going to be going to hell or one of those dimensions other than heaven. I once had a guy on a show ask me, "Do you think?" I told the radio show the speaker or I'm sorry the listeners that heaven had 9 different levels that I saw when I was there,
Mhm.
and hell had 5 different levels.
I've
And
heard
one of
that
the
before.
and one of the somebody in the audience asked if I thought they were different dimensions, and I said, yeah, they could be different dimensions. It's
Mhm.
just one side is good dimensions. I know my grandfather was in the lowest dimension, and it's mentioned of in the Bible as paradise, and it's just like Earth, has all the trees and everything just like Earth, except there's no death, There's no sickness. Everything's perfect in every way, and uh, so that's the lowest level. And you move up each level or each dimension as you learn the laws and the ordinances of the universe. And as you learn those things and the principles of the universe, you move up each dimension till you hit the highest level of.
Yeah, like an ascended master. Do you know what that is?
Exactly, I've heard of it. Yes.
Yeah, kind of like I don't know, Gandhi would be an
Yeah.
example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the highest level or highest dimension is where God's at.
Mhm.
Now you might think God as whatever you think Him as. He's at that top level.
Mhm.
Now He presented Himself to me when I saw Him as God or Jesus Christ. But I don't know if there was an American Indian or a Buddhist or what he would present himself as then. But I told the radio show the other day that all I know when I was standing before him or kneeling before him before I blacked out, that uh, I didn't care what he was. All I know was he had so much stuff coming from him, very intelligent. Uh, he could do things that none of us could do. As far as I was concerned, he was God.
Yeah.
So whatever he was, I was going to kneel. But anyway, over on the other side now, it's just completely different because it's 5 levels of hell, and they're different dimensions of just. It's hard to describe it. It's darkness, and every good thing I experienced on the other side, on the hell side, was nothing but pity and sorrow and hatred and fear and all those bad feelings were over on the other side. But there again, you could work yourself up to the different levels of hell by doing the same thing, learning the principles of the universe, of what you're being taught by the universe. Then you can move up those different dimensions, and each one is better than the one before. Now, I don't know if you're in the bottom dimension of hell, if you could go to the top dimension of heaven,
Mhm.
but I know you probably could go over to the lowest side anyway, maybe 1 or 2 levels of heaven, if you can get yourself out of hell.
I've had this conversation, what you're saying, with someone before because they told me, and I can't remember who it was, like for the life of me, I don't have a clue. I can't remember. But they had said that they didn't think that that was possible, that once you're damned or whatever, once you're fallen, that you can't go back. And I told them that I don't believe that. I believe that if there's always that intention that you have, that you want to go back the other direction, that you were given free will for a reason. It doesn't matter. I feel like even if you're just your spirit, I still feel like you can work your way in whatever
Exactly.
effort that you put forward and intention that you put forward, that you can still work your way in the other direction. You have that choice.
Well, I'm not a big fan of organized religion. I just not. I haven't been to church in years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, After this astral projection, what I saw and what I was told, uh, just none of the churches preach that. When I went there, nobody asked me what church I belonged to. They didn't ask me what religion I was. The thing that mattered to them was love. They wanted to know if I loved my wife and my family. They wanted to know if I loved my next door neighbors. They wanted to know if I loved the people of the world. And
Mm-hmm.
then they asked me if I loved the world. And uh, that was their big thing. That was their thing. It was not, you know, are you a Baptist? Are you this, that?
Yeah.
What church did you
I
go
feel
to?
like the Come Together
Yeah,
Beatles song is playing in the background because it makes me think of the Beatles song Come Together or whatever.
yeah, really, come together.
Kind of like that. The words to that song, like I am me, and you are we, and we are we, or
We're
something
all,
like that. Like we
we're
are
all
the same.
together. Yeah,
You're me, and
we're
I'm you, and we're we.
we're all in this together. That's for
Yeah.
sure. Got another question here.
Um, there is evil and good in people, just like the spirits. Is what Liz
Well,
from Scotland, Liz from Scotland, UK said.
well, you know, I agree with you. There's good and evil spirits on this earth, but I think the good spirits are here for a purpose. Now, I know for a fact I gave readings to a number of people now where their ancestors, like their grandmother or their grandfather, were their guardian angels, and they're around them in this earthly form to protect them and to watch over them. So I know they're good spirits. They're their guardian angels,
Hmm.
and
I
so
agree. I believe
yeah.
in those two.
Well, I know I've been around people as they pass. I've even seen the spirit of a person pass, but
Hmm.
I've even been where just before they passed, I had a friend that died, and just before he passed, he was talking to people that was in the room, and he wasn't paying any attention to me. He was carrying on a conversation with other people that was in the room, and I know for a fact that when you pass, when you die, that just before you die, unless it's really sudden death, that they come for you.
Hmm.
Your family comes for you once it's passed, and
Or
uh,
angels, sometimes
they
angels.
help you. They help you across.
Hmm.
They help you on the other side to acclimate to the spirit side of things.
My
Being in
grandma.
a physical body all these years, then all of a sudden your spirit, you have to get acclimated, and they help you at that. That's what they do. Things are different on the other side. For one thing, there's no death again. Your spirit. You don't. You're no longer attached to this earth with its laws, where everything dies. Um, there's no time on their side because they live forever. There's no time. They have no use for time. When I do a reading or somebody asks me how long will it be before I have a lover, a boyfriend or whatever, I only like to go maybe like 2 years out because my spirit guides, if they tell me anything like 10 years out, then I know they're just guessing because
Because
uh,
so much
think,
stuff could change anyways. You know what I mean? Like between,
exactly. It's like you have free will, they do too.
yeah.
And anything could happen. So I go 2 years out because that's pretty good and it just works. And I'm pretty accurate at it, at that.
I have people that have messaged me a lot and asked me, "Am I going to find true love soon, or will I find, like my soulmate soon?" And I'm like, I don't really do those kind of readings with like that. Like if someone asks me that, I don't really know what to tell them because I don't even when I've done readings, I don't even like have a general question asked. I just tell them to concentrate on something that they want to know the answer to, and don't tell me what it is. And then I do the reading, and they always say that it's completely addressing whatever that they are focusing and thinking about. That's what I do.
Exactly. You
That's just
know,
my style, though.
I can give a reading to somebody and they want to know about a boyfriend or something if he's cheating on them or whatever. And I'm going, hey, look, your grandmother's standing right here beside me. Wouldn't you rather talk to her? Maybe she could tell you some things. you know, I
Uh-huh.
don't know. That's the important thing to them is finding out if their boyfriend's cheating on them or whatever.
Do you believe in thought form and manifestation, and if you can actually think something or speak something into existence?
Uh, I'm sorry, maybe I don't understand the question. What's that?
I said, do you believe in people have told me before to not speak something into existence. And I say that to people sometimes too. If they're being negative, I tell them to think positive thoughts only or to say only positive thoughts and to not speak something negative into existence. Do you believe that's possible?
Yes, it is possible. Exactly. Have you ever heard of a PK manifestation?
Is that
That
psychokinetic
PK manifestation. I can't even say it.
manifestation?
Yeah, manifestation. Anyway, that is formed from negative energy
Hmm.
from somebody or more than one person in the same household who has had nothing but negative energy around them that they have produced. It's taken probably several years, but it's formed this entity, and uh, it doesn't have a spirit. It's just energy, and it's all negative energy. And it can do the same stuff as a spirit can. It can throw things off shelves. It can do open doors. It can do things like that. But it's all bad. It's
Hmm.
bad stuff. I always say if you do one negative thought, if you have one negative thought or one negative thing, it's going to take three good thoughts or three good things to make up for that
That
one.
is true. One
It's
step back, you got to take three steps ahead to get back where you were.
exactly right.
Mhm.
I know I have my negative thoughts and my negative things too. But, that's just life. That's the way we are being humans. But we have to strive for uh, positive stuff, you know? We
Mhm.
have to strive for trying to
Oh,
help our
oops.
neighbors, stuff like
Sorry.
that.
I shook my computer. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel I know what you're talking about the PK manifestation or whatever, or like someone thought forming something into existence, like commonly known as or thought of as the same thing as like a poltergeist activity or whatever going on in their house, and they're seeing
Yeah.
things moved and seeing things. Because a lot of the times I'll tell people either they maybe have an ability that they're not aware of, or their mind power is stronger than they think, and what they're focusing on, they're creating that in their atmosphere, and it's actually physically manifesting and happening in their home. A lot of people
Exactly.
don't get. They're like
Uh,
it's hard for people to understand that. I think.
the best thing for them to do is go get a priest to exorcise them and then go and have the house blessed and have that thing cast out of their house. The
Hmm.
only way you can get rid of it is for you to get out of the house, probably yourself, and that thing to get out of the house so that it doesn't experience anymore. Once it gets big, it makes you think negative things. It makes your
Hmm.
uh, personality change, where you're negative all the time because you're in the house with it.
Yeah.
So you have to get rid of it. You have to probably move out too. But anyway, it's a bad thing. I know just that attachment I had. I had it for 2 weeks. I didn't know what I was going to do if I couldn't get rid of it. I was about ready to go to a priest
Yeah.
myself.
But sometimes it even actually gets like that's why they say I know most people I don't really tend to believe what most people say. If most people think that you cannot heal yourself or you cannot free yourself from bondage or an attachment, I don't believe that. Most people say you cannot reverse a curse. I do not believe that either. You can reverse a curse. You just have to not give up and you have to figure out the way to go at it to get it reversed and find out why it was caused because it might not even be a curse in the first place. Um, but I tend to like think kind of like you, like I'm a very free thinker and I don't believe the cliches of what most people think.
Well, a lot of times, like on a curse too, I think you have to believe in them too before the curse takes effect. You know,
Mm-hmm.
uh, I'm kind of that way. Um, I believe in them. I it's like that Skinwalker Ranch. I think that actually happened way back when as a curse on the land
Yeah, I
for
do.
whatever happened to the people that lived on that land. And I kind of believe that that way that over the years that has become something that's very ungodlike. Um, it has its own energy, as they showed on the TV program. It's got electromagnetic energy in the ground.
Yeah, and
Uh,
then the belief that people have in it makes it even more strong, I think.
exactly. But yeah, I agree with you on that. I believe one time I had a dream one time, and the dream I had uh, red worms coming out of my brain, and it was
Mhm.
really weird. And I posted on Facebook. I said, "Does anybody know about dreams and what they mean?" Because I don't know that much, especially bad.
Mhm.
And I told what the dream was, and somebody got that. Well, two or three of them got on there and said it was witchcraft.
Mhm.
And plenty of witches on Facebook, I'm telling you. And the only thing is, I didn't know which one did it. And there, I had really bad luck, and my wife and I both did
Mhm.
for for a year there. And
Dreams.
dream, yeah.
I was
Bad
just actually
dream.
talking to someone last week about something like this, and I told him what I thought that he should do because he does energy work and healing and stuff and rune stone work and stuff like that. I won't say who it is, but I told him I thought that it sounded like he had some kind of psychic attack going on by somebody, aka probably witchcraft or something like that. But even just a psychic attack doesn't even have to have witchcraft of any kind of like ritualistic stuff involved. You can just, thought, think that, focus on it, and
Yeah.
and send it to somebody, and then it can actually, mess their lives up. And I told him it sounded like that. And then I had a girl that I was actually, she called me before the show started. That's why I didn't get with you earlier. And she was asking me about dreams that she's been having, and I'm going to go work with her at her house, I think, and figure out why she's having some dreams that she's having.
That's it. A lot of dreams I can interpret,
Uh huh.
but when it comes to those weird ones, I can't
Yeah.
interpret.
I feel
But
like if you can't, though, that there's a reason that you can't. You know what I mean? Like there was a reason you didn't know.
well, exactly. That could have been part of the spell or whatever it was.
Because that's part of the
Yeah.
attack. They don't want you to know. They want you to think you're going crazy.
I also think there was some kind of time limit on it because with me, it seemed like it shut off at after about a year.
Did it?
And
That's
I didn't
good.
have to deal with it anymore.
That'd be a long time to deal with that, though.
Yeah, it was.
That's a long time.
I have this one person asking if I listening to dark music can be negative. Yes, it can be. Um, if you have a kind of negative personality, if you listen to dark music, that dark music could maybe make your personality even uh, uh, more negative, and it could influence you probably in a way that to make you act in a way that you wouldn't before you started listening to the music.
Yeah.
Um,
That reminds me of high school. I think that I would agree that I used to listen to dark negative music and stay in my room all the time, and it did affect me, and it made me depressed and antisocial and
yeah,
stuff like that.
really. Makes
Now
you
it
act
doesn't.
like, yeah, and then you start thinking that that music, is real and everything. It's
Yeah.
just bad news. There's another question here. Don't
Oh,
like music anymore. Are movies so? I say no. Depends on what movie you watch. Who is
yeah.
this?
That's
Ronnie?
Ronnie.
Yeah, it depends on what movie you watch. Now,
He said
so,
Skinwalker Ranch has plenty of radioactivity under the ground.
yeah, that's for sure.
Adam said, "Well, damn."
Oh, Skinwalker Ranch has plenty of radioactivity under the ground. Yes, it does. They saw something in that where there was an object or something underneath the ground. They couldn't figure out what it was. And they still haven't figured out what it was. And I know we have been visited by extraterrestrials. I know we have. We have to start facing things and be realistic about things. There's been so many people that's seen UFOs in the sky. They've seen them in the waters. They've they've seen them in caves and tunnels and stuff. Uh, we have to realize that they're here. They're with us. They've been with us for a mighty long time. Um, I, I know I'm going to get kicked off the program for this, but I believe God is basically an extraterrestrial.
I'm not going to kick you off for saying that. I embrace any thoughts that aren't hateful, negative, or, like if you're not attacking somebody and you don't have bad intention, I don't have a problem with you saying that.
Well, I believe that they helped our ancient ancestors with their technologies, with building skills, and the whole 9 yards. I believe it with all my heart. I know they've been here because they told me so. And and I know they're coming back again. And that time they're coming back is a real short time. And I know there's going to be a lot of church people that's going to be. I say this in a nice way. I'm not negative at all when I say this.
Yeah.
They're going to be surprised when it happens.
I kind of agree with what you said. Like, I don't 100% know if I agree about the extraterrestrial thing. I'm not saying I do, and I'm not saying I don't. I'm saying I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. But I'm saying I don't think of all the churches I've been to, I don't think that hopefully the right people won't take that offensively. You know what I'm saying? And we don't really talk a lot about religion and stuff on here, and I like to talk a lot about religion because I'm very open-minded when it comes to religion and belief and spirituality, and I don't think they're all the same, but I don't think that I agree completely with any one church that I've been to. The ones that I relate to the most is the Episcopalians. I felt the best and the most at home and the most comfortable, and I love them the most. But Greek Orthodox, I like them a lot. The Greek Orthodox Church, but I'm very open minded about Buddhism and about other countries and the different kinds of practices that they do. I don't have I don't really follow Satanist. I'm not a Satanist. I don't follow or support Satanism, but I do want to know more about it.
I was told though, when they were telling me love is what. When I told you love is what they deal with, that they love love, and I was told then that they don't mind religion because as long as it teaches love and it practices love, like helping the poor and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's basically what God would do, and that's what they're about. And so they have. If you belong to a church, they're not against it, as long as it's doing good.
An organization that's got pure intention.
Yeah, if you belong to a church where the pastor drives a new car every year, and the church is held in it used to be a warehouse, now it holds 50,000 people, and the parking lot takes up half of Africa or whatever. You do not want to be part of that church because they're using their money and funds for other things. I'm just telling you that, and that's not a negative statement. I say that with truth in my heart. But anyway,
I know what you're saying because that would fall kind of under greed, being greedy.
Yep.
And the purpose of belief and helping one another is not to have self gain, a constant self gain from it. It's to have a common bond, a connection, a spiritual connection, and help each other out and selflessly, like, help others in need out, like mothers and children and homeless people or whatever.
Well, in the book of James, I think it is, it says, religion in its purest form is helping the needy, feeding the poor, or helping the poor, feeding the needy, clothing the needy, maybe, but it's all this stuff. Taking care of the widow and the homeless and also the fatherless. That's pure religion in its purest form. It doesn't say anything about anything else. I had a preacher once tell me, well, God wouldn't want his preachers to live out on the street. And I'm thinking to myself, why not? Jesus did.
He
Jesus
did.
didn't have a
Yeah, he
home.
walked among the blind, and he walked among the poor, and he walked among the lowest of the low of what people would call nowadays, I don't know, I guess the lower class or the homeless. And he walked among them and lived among them and ate among
Exactly.
them. Yeah.
But anyway, like I said, I'm going to get off the subject now because
I have some
it's a
questions
touchy
for you
subject.
that don't pertain to that if you want to change the subject. That way
That's
we
good.
don't get
That's good.
too many. Alan, did you tell how negative and positive energy makes a big difference in life if you know how it works?
Well, I definitely do know
Like a
how it works.
balance? Does she mean like balancing them?
Well, like at the beginning of this pandemic, it seemed like the whole earth was in a negative attitude. And uh, it seemed like even when you went someplace, the people were negative, like at the grocery stores and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it really changes your life. Even now, if you wanted to, the pandemic can still do that. But they're starting to loosen out, open up places and stuff like that. And I don't feel it as bad as I used to. My wife and I bought this house just uh, just before the pandemic, where they shut everything down.
Yeah.
And when we moved in here, the, I know it was a change of our personalities and attitudes to positive because of this house. Everything was much better. Our feelings was much better for everything, and you can actually uh, uh, I don't know, change. It seems like you can change your life in a way that you can pull yourself out of the gutter, so to speak, because you have a positive attitude, and you can start sending in resumes and applications to get work and stuff, and not have the attitude, oh, they're not going to hire me anyway. I'm just not going to do it. Or I'm going to wait until next week type thing. If you have a positive attitude, you can do it. And I know some people that I've done readings to. I've told them that, and I told them that they need to get their applications in because there was a company out there waiting to hire them. And then they came back to me with an update telling me that they got a job a week later because they sent their resumes in. And so I know it works.
What's
Uh,
weird is I feel like things will start to line up like that for you too, and you'll just start to see it. Because
exactly.
I had said one day, "Hey, this place is hiring," to my husband, and I said, "I think I'm going to apply there." And
Yeah.
then yesterday, Sunday, literally, someone came up and said, "Hey, do you have a job right now?" And I said, "No." And they said, "You want to come work for me?" And I said, "You're not going to believe this. I just told my husband I wanted to apply to work where you're asking me to come work at. That is just insane. I can't believe that you asked me that." I was like, I didn't even mention anything, period. I hadn't even spoken to that person. And they just came up and asked me, "Do you want to work there?" And I was like, "Are you serious?" It
You
was
know,
crazy.
I really enjoy being a medium. Sometimes they say it's a gift, but sometimes it feels like a curse or something. But uh, the good times are good when you're a medium. I mean, I met this one woman through I needed insurance for my Medicare. You know, extra insurance, what do you call it? But anyway, uh, we met for lunch, her and my wife and I, and in the process, I told her, I said, "Your grandson has come, and he wants me to tell you something."
Mm-hmm.
Immediately, she got tears in her eyes, and she said, "My grandson." I said, "Yeah," and come to find out, his mother and him were in a car accident, and he died, but she wasn't. And the mother and the grandmother was holding it against the mother. She kind of felt that the mother actually did it on purpose. And the grandson was telling me to tell his grandmother not to be mad at his mother, that she didn't do it on purpose, that he didn't
Mm-hmm.
want her to be mad at his mother. And that not only did that open a relationship between her and his mother, but it also opened up a relationship between him and her, because she
Yeah.
comes quite often now when she asked me for a reading. The last time is the one I want to tell you about, though. I was at the house. I gave her a reading. Her grandson was there, and I told her things that her grandson wanted me to tell her. And anyway, when we quit, she was laughing, and she was in a really good mood and everything. And I, my wife and I went out to check on the property. I just went outside to get some sun or whatever. But anyway, I was still in spirit, and he was still with me.
Yeah.
And he told me, uh, he said, look to the right. I looked over there, and there was a big old rainbow to the south of us.
Uh-huh.
Big old huge rainbow, and the sun was out, and there was no storm or anything. But this rainbow was in the south of that, in the sky on the south. He says, "I just wanted to know I did this for you, for making my grandmother happy."
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Aw.
I got tears in my eyes. I
Yeah.
didn't know they could do that. I didn't know spirits could do that. He actually put a rainbow in the sky because that was for me, for making his grandmother happy. Um, I don't know. It really humbles you when something like that happens. But anyway, it
I
did.
think they can kind of like almost speak to the spirit of that nature that would influence or manipulate that rainbow, and they could kind of like coincide with each other and make that happen.
Exactly. Yeah. Or something. I don't know, but I know it happened. I was really, it shocked me. Uh, I brought tears to my eyes. I didn't know what the hell. Uh, it was it was something else. I never had that happen before. Never.
Anita said, spirits can't, yes, spirits can. I knew one who tossed lightning bolts.
Yeah, you did, huh?
That's kind of scary. Yeah.
Yeah, really. It is kind of scary. Was he a relation?
Did you hear Anita? Was he in relation to you? She said, spirits are amazing.
Spirits are amazing. Yes, they are. They can do a lot of things that we can't imagine in this earthly body that they can do. They can do. They have no boundaries. They can do whatever they want to do. One reason why there's a heaven and an hell, the decent, good spirits, because there's no boundaries, they still do good. But there has to be boundaries for the spirits that's bad, because if they were not put in like a prison, they would continually to do bad, and in their spiritual state, they could wreak a lot of horror upon the earth and in the spirit world
And
also.
sometimes they do. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Even the very few that's out there now.
I've heard of people conjuring things up and stuff and making things like that happen.
That's pretty good that we told her to throw a lightning bolt someplace, and she did, huh? That's pretty neat.
That is pretty neat. Says
I
she was a friend of mine, but not genetically related.
Oh, okay. Well, that's pretty neat. Wish I had friends like that.
Spirits that are powerful like that. That'd be cool if more of them used their energy to do stuff like that, I guess.
Yeah, really.
She said, I've
What's
worked with spirits my whole life.
Yeah, so have I. I saw my first spirit when I was about 5 years old. It scared me at first because I'd never seen one before, and it was of a woman, and she stood at the end of my bed, and she was just staring out the window, and I threw myself underneath my blankets, and kept peeking out, and I guess it seemed like an eternity that she was there, but I guess she was only there for a couple minutes, and then she left. But yeah, I've been that way for a long time. Seen them. What's this?
Anita made a comment.
You probably do, but I haven't met them yet. Uh, a lot of spirits I haven't met. Yeah, a lot of them. I have spirits around me all the time because I'm a medium, and they know I can talk to them, and they can talk to me. So they just sometimes when like on my show that I have on uh, Sundays, it, we have readings in the show, and they kind of like bum rush me. You can almost feel rushed because they coming up on me because they want to be there and express their opinions, and they want to talk to their relatives that might be there on the show, and stuff. It's kind of crazy at times. It's like at a basketball, and they're all a basketball game. They're all going for the basket. They're trying to get to me so that they can tell me things. But yeah,
Yeah, I know what you mean. I've seen some specific spirits do that to mediums. Like they're just very persistent, almost like they're tapping them on the shoulder and they won't stop until they get attention or they get the message across that they're trying to like deliver.
I had somebody ask me, "How do you put up with that 24/7?" And really, I don't. Um, I learned at an early age that I put like a door in my brain, so to speak, and they know when the door is closed, it's my time. My time for sleeping, my time for eating, and stuff. And when the door is open, they know they can access me. And I try to have the door open on these shows because I never know when something's going to happen. Because I've had relatives of hosts of the show up here, come to me, and they wanted me to give a message to the host or
Mhm.
co-host or whatever. And uh, so, but when I close that door, they know that I'm not available then. I taught my wife that too, because she's a medium.
You have to tell them you've got to take a break for a minute and you've got to rejuvenate and you've got to rest or you've got to go to sleep or you've got to do something. You mean like you have to have a minute to.
Yeah, that's true. Well, if I close the door and then I do something like eating or using the bathroom or whatever, then they know what I'm doing, so they don't bother me.
Mhm.
But
Oh,
unless
I
it's
mean, you're
really,
just telling them you're closing the door because I've heard some kind of medium tell me that they tell the spirits that they're closing the door right now, so they're taking a break and they have to wait. They've told them literally, like, I'm closing the door. You got to stay here. You can't go with me. I'm closing the door.
yeah, really, that's basically what I do,
Mhm.
and they know when that happens, I'm not available to them. So, but um, I told you before the show that saw my own death,
Yeah.
and it was almost like not an out of body experience, but a near death experience. But what happened after that, after I went into the tunnel, uh, after I came out of the tunnel, it wasn't anymore a near death experience as far as I was concerned. it became more like an astral projection. It's the only thing that uh, made it made sense to me. Uh, I went to bed when I was supposed to go to bed. Zap! I, I was in this episode of, I don't know, Death Files or something. And but anyway, then I ended up in this place with my grandfather that was beautiful. It was paradise. You know, when Jesus, I read the Bible and I believe in God. I believe in Jesus Christ, and I'm very much a Christian. But in the Bible, Jesus was on the cross. They crucified him, and he was there with two criminals.
Yep.
And one of the criminals said, "If you're the Son of God, get yourself off of there and get me off of there also." And
Mm-hmm.
you know, I'm paraphrasing what was said.
Yeah.
But the other criminal says, "Take me with you into your kingdom, uh, and Father, Master," I think is what he said.
Yeah.
And Jesus told him, he said, "Today you be with me in paradise." You know, and that's the only time that I can remember that Jesus used that phrase, paradise. And a lot of people think that he's talking about heaven. But I found out that he's not. He's talking about the lowest level of heaven. He's talking about heaven, but it's paradise. It's
Yeah.
what
I know what you're
described.
talking about, actually. And you
And
can be there when you're on earth mentally. You can actually arrive at that state of being.
exactly.
Hmm.
And so he was with Jesus that day in paradise. And it made so much sense. It put everything in perspective for me. It made more sense about the Bible, things that I didn't know. They told me about, like the different levels of heaven, the different levels of hell. I was always thought when you were in hell, it was fire and brimstone, and you were gonna burn
Yeah.
all for eternity.
Me too.
I just couldn't comprehend that. I couldn't
Hmm.
comprehend that. You know.
Me too.
Uh,
And now that I'm grown up, it just doesn't leave a
yeah,
good taste in my mouth when I attend somewhere that preaches that
yeah,
kind of lesson, because I don't agree that you're supposed to be pushy and forceful and try to make someone eat and digest your belief on your
yeah,
own, or you wouldn't have been given free will in the first place. You have a
yeah.
question that Vanessa wants to know. Um, was wondering, is it true that deja vu are visions from another life? I usually have them for a week straight and I get dizzy after I have them. I haven't heard
You
of
know,
that before.
now they did not tell me about deja vu, but I'm going to tell you, they did tell me about the pre-existence. And when we're in the pre-existence, we get to see this earth, and we get to see the history of the earth. And I'm almost sure, almost positive, that we get to see our lives, and we get to pick out those lives. Believe it or not, we get to pick them out. Maybe not. Maybe we're just showing those lives that this is the life you're going to have, so prepare for it. And that's what we see. And when you're in deja vu, you've seen that person or you've seen that place before.
Yeah.
I've been in deja vu for hours at a time, and I'm almost sure that I've been there before. And
So
I
you think
think
it's a past life recall?
um, I don't think it's. I just think it's uh, like pre-existence. It's just we saw the life that we were going to have on this. I do not believe in reincarnation.
Uh-huh.
We only have one physical body. We only have one spirit. Uh, it wouldn't make sense to keep sending us down here for what? For it just doesn't make sense. Everything that we need to learn and everything about Earth, we learn in this life. Even in suicides where you die early,
Hmm.
we have experienced what we had to experience. And we don't come back anymore. This is what I was told. This is what I believe. Um, I know it's hard to digest. It's just like a little baby. He comes and he dies immediately, stillbirth or whatever. He's not going to be coming back for anything else. He is going to be in some level of heaven,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's paradise or whatever. He has already served his purpose. He's already done what he was supposed to do. And he's in that space that he's supposed to be after this life. Now, to send him back to do whatever, to me, is uncruel. It is very cruel. And I don't think it would serve the purpose for anything. Some people believe it can come back as an animal. And I just can't relate to that at all for any reason. But yeah, I believe deja vu is that, where we saw our life, our physical life, in the pre-existence, and that's what we were experiencing when we came and was born into this life. Um, that's all I can say about it. What's this
We
one?
have a question from Adam. He said, "Are there ever times when you have to go up to a stranger and tell them about a loved one that needed to let them know something?"
Yeah, that sometimes works and sometimes it don't work. Um, I told this one woman one time that her mother was there, and she said, "My mother's dead." And I said, "Well, um, she's right here in spirit." She gave me a message. She, "I don't want to see her. I don't want to hear it." And she looked at me like I had two heads and 16 eyes or something. She didn't want nothing to do with me. And other times, like I said about this one lady we were eating lunch with, I told her grandson wanted to give her a message. She was very open to it, and she thanked me uh, quite a bit. And at the time, I was only charging like $25 for a reading. I had a special going through our radio station, through the podcast station, for readings for $25. I think it was something like that. She wrote a check out for $100. She was so pleased that I gave her that message from her grandson. And so you don't know when you walk up cold like that to a person that's not expecting it. You better be expecting anything, because you're not gonna know. You might haul off and punch you.
I was just posting like a comment that Barbara had made. Barbara and Anita were talking back
Oh
to
yeah.
they were talking back and forth to each other in the chats or in the comments or whatever. So Anita said, "I had a
Hi,
shared."
Barbara.
Yeah, Barbara's here. I had a shared death experience. Might have had a near death, but I was alone at the time, so I can't say. My friend has died twice.
Well, I believe you can die probably more than twice. Die as
Yeah.
often. But if they bring you back from death, then that's something too. I don't believe in olden days they could do that, but now with modern methods and stuff, no reincarnations. I don't believe in that. What I was showed was when I was there, everybody just received one body, one spirit. Um, all the good stuff, everything else comes when you go to your afterlife. That's when you'll be able to change your body into any shape you want it. You can present yourself as an old person. You can present yourself as a young person. You could probably present yourself as an animal if you wanted to. But on this earth, in our present form, this is what we're stuck with. This is for a life that we have. And this is the life that we have to make something of it and to return back or to go into our afterlife and be able to go to that place that Jesus called paradise. And that's what I call it, paradise. And I think if you saw paradise, you would commit suicide to get there because it's a very beautiful place.
Where?
It's just like, go ahead.
Where did you say you if you go to where when you commit suicide?
You would probably go straight to paradise.
Okay. I thought you said purgatory.
No, 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 no. That's another place taught by religion,
Yeah.
and it's not even no. Uh, if somebody commits suicide, it's because they're in such a state of mind they can no longer function in this life, and they are not able to function in their present state. The only thing they can do is get out of their present state, and God is not going to hold it against them as long as they do good in their life as much as possible. That's another thing I want to tell you. Uh, a lot of the sins that we do in this life, we pay for in this life. You heard of karma?
Yep.
That's what it
I just
is.
talked about karma today. I talk about it every day almost.
It's real. It's
Yep.
happening. Uh, if you sin, you're going to pay for your sin here in this life, as long as it's not something major, murder, rape, uh, stuff like that. Now that's major, and that's something that you're going to stand before your maker, and that's when you're going to find out who made you and who sent you to earth and who brought you back. And I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to be on one knee when he pronounces sentence upon you. But if you steal, say, a candy bar or something, you're going to pay for it. You're going to pay for it in karma. Or
Hmm.
if you do something that's not quite right, you're going to pay for it in karma. You
I
pay
feel
for
like
it
also sometimes it comes back and happens to you to show you what you did.
exactly right.
A lot.
Can't be more true. Um, a lot of it could be negative feelings that you have. A lot of it could be something that your neighbor does to you. You don't know, but it's going to be karma and it's coming back to you, and you're paying for that sin. That's what this earth does. It prepares you for the life to come. And the, the small stuff is paid for by you on this earth. And when you die, you go to a place that I call paradise. You don't go to hell unless you do some of those bad things I told you about. And then you can still move out of hell as long as you learn the ordinances and the laws of the universe, and the Bible says repent. In other words, you have bad feelings about what you did in this life. You
Hmm.
have to have that. But anyway,
And not just in only that religion. I feel like a lot of religions have a good and a bad deity or a good and a bad belief system. They have a light and a dark
exactly.
and a consequence for your actions and a, like basically a path that your soul's going to go down if you choose to do selfish, like self motivated things. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Yep. Um, every religion has a bit of truth to it. I actually feel that Satan probably put most of the religions on the earth for
Probably.
mankind to learn about God. But the only thing is, he only put a little bit of truth in each one of them. If you want to get the whole truth, you'd have to go to all of them. And I
That's what
really
I
feel,
try to do is like to learn as many as I can.
Exactly. And then you have to find the true soul for yourself. You have to find them.
Yeah, I feel like it's a code almost like like being a decoder. Like you
Well,
find things that you just know resonate with you and feel like you're home, and like you know that they're good and they're like light.
yeah,
Does that make sense? And you know, and take those away like they've spread them like tablets, like you would see in a movie, like broken up tablets throughout all of the land, and you have to find those pieces.
yeah. Put it back together on the floor there.
Hmm.
What's the Hi, Barbara. Says everyone will learn something by death, even a normal death. Well, I should have saw them more. Wow, I wish I could been there more when they needed me. So now that persons know to start being there more for those here living, they know. Barbara's trying to say her son committed suicide,
Yeah,
and just a little over a year ago, and she wishes that she had been there more for her son. I guess, and that's kind of almost like a guilty conscience. And I'm telling Barbara right now, you don't have to worry about that, Barbara, because um, I gave you a reading afterwards, and he did what he did because, well, I told you. Anyway, yeah, if you can, if you know somebody related to you or you know them really well, you know they're having a problem, go to them, talk to them. There's a commercial now on TV that has that teenagers asking other teenagers, "Are you all right, bro?" You know.
yeah, and not as many people do that, but I think that it is kind of bringing itself to like a head, kind of like
Yeah.
to actually be more acceptable, and people are like actually becoming more aware of signs and telltale signs of when someone is actually depressed. Because a lot of people going through this pandemic, I think, have become more. It's been more obvious the signs because it's been more maybe more people have been depressed through this pandemic. You know.
Uh, that's true. Another
Yeah,
thing I
we're about
noticed
to
too.
go
Oh,
ahead. I wanted you to go ahead and tell everybody if you have your show. Some people have asked because we're running out of time and it's 9:30, and we're going to have Alan on again in a few weeks. Not next Monday, but I think the Monday after that. I'll have to look, but it's the 26th, right? I think so. Um,
yeah, the 26th. Yeah,
yeah, he's
that's
going to be
Sunday.
on again. If anyone has more questions for him, then y'all can get them ready and have them ready for him then. But I wanted you to tell everybody where's your show at because some people have asked. I guess you and Barbara have the podcast and they want to know where to find it at.
Yeah, Barbara and I and my wife. It's called Crossover Connections, and we're on Sunday nights, Sunday evenings at 6:30 EST, uh, Eastern Standard Time, and it's on Block Talk Radio. And I hope I got it all, Barbara.
Is there a way to post it, Barbara? If you're still there, is there a way to post it in the comments, like a link to that? If they have some social media pages that people can click on to find it,
I
that
know
would
the
be
phone
awesome.
number is
If one of y'all could like post it in the comments or whatever, somebody could post it in the comments. Um, because if it's a radio station, then it won't just be on Facebook, right? It'll be actually broadcasted elsewhere.
it's actually on the telephone. The podcast is what it is.
Yeah, there it
Yeah,
is. She posted
it's
it
all.
there. She put it in there so people can look it up.
Yeah,
Awesome. And we wanted to go over the Fear Fest Paracon that's going to be at the Salina Masonic Temple, September 24th and 25th. We are myself and Jason are going to be there, and a lot of other guests that we've had on the show, and a lot of other people that are in the comments. They're going to be there. The Pun family, almost like most of the people that are going to be there, are in some way part of the Paranormal United Network family. Are going to be there. If not, then there are other paranormal teams or whatever. Yeah, it says blogtalkradio.com/FL medium 56. Barbara put it in the comments. So if anyone wants to go there, they can find Alan and his wife and Barbara's podcast show. to check it out on Sunday nights at 6:30 Eastern time, you said?
Yeah, 6:30 Eastern time. It's every other Sunday. Now we don't have a show this coming Sunday, but we do. Uh, we do it on the 26th, though, right? Yeah. So,
Okay. Then the day
on the
after that will be
25th,
when
I'm
you're back
sorry.
on
On
the
the
show.
25th, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you'll be on the
25th.
25th, and then you'll be back with myself and Jason. You'll be here on the
On the
26th.
26th. Right.
So thank everyone for joining, and thanks for watching the show. If you guys want to go to follow the Facebook page, Temple Fear Fest Paracon, share it out to anyone that you know that might want to come to the convention that we're going to have in Solana in September. We're hoping to have a great turnout. We're going to have 2 different investigations after all of the event is closed up that night, like after the operational hours. When we close, we're going to do investigations both nights. It's a really awesome place. It's a Masonic temple. It has, quite a history. It's 160,000 square feet, and I believe it's 7 stories tall. Really, just a nice sight to see with all the gargoyles and stuff that are on the building. So everybody, check that page out and come see us in September, and come see us again in 2 Mondays from now on the 26th when we're going to have Alan on the show again and probably talk more about some of his books and stuff like that. Because I wrote all of them down. I wanted to ask some questions about some of them. I might check them out too.
I'd like to talk about that one podcast also where I went to Paradise and saw my granddaughter.
Then we'll start out talking about that then. If you want to, that's fine.
Okay.
That'll be great. And thank you for joining us. We enjoyed talking to you. Everyone had a lot of questions, and everyone enjoyed talking to you. There's quite a few people in and out tonight.
Thank you very much for having me. I enjoyed it. I enjoy you guys. You're great hosts. Thank you.
Thank you. Everyone have a good night, and we'll see y'all again next Monday. Thank you.
Bye-bye, everybody.